yesterday, but of course, we had to deal with other things. Now, this deal,
And good morning, Winston.
Yeah, good morning, Honorable.
this deal, from the time it began, there have been questions, and you asked a few of those questions in Parliament. Before we get to your position on it, especially now that we've learned how much Ghana made out of it, Winston has been crunching the numbers, and they are not quite crunching, are they?
I'm very confused once I looked at the minister's presentation to Parliament. So the minister indicated that between September and December, 117,187 people came through Ghana's port or airport. Now, if you're charging everybody $150, you're looking at 17,590,500. But that's not what we realized, because according to the minister, there were 1,157 who didn't pay because they were children aged between 5 and 12. Kojo, if you were to do the subtraction, so if you subtract 1,157 from 117,187, you get 116,030. However, the minister uses 115,730 in doing the calculations. Now, if this is used in doing the calculation, Frontiers gets $16,202,000.
Okay.
And Ghana is expected to get $1,157,300. But the amount that we got, we're told, is $1,167,300. Now that means we got $10,000 more than we should have gotten. So the question you raise first and foremost is, so what happened to the number? Now, I then decided to just, divide 1,167,300 by 10, and it gives you 116,000. Okay?
Right.
So that means that the number that was used cannot be the case. So the question I'm asking simply is, how many people came through the port, came through our airport between September and December? Now, if it is 117,187, if you subtract 1,157 from it, is it not 116,030? And so if we're using that particular number, then the country, the country Ghana, would have gotten more than we're being given. Then, where is the remainder, if that is the case? If that is the case, all I am asking is, can we get a clearer picture of how many people came through our airports? Can we understand how many people came through our airport? Because if you say 1,157 didn't pay because they were children between 5 and 12, somebody may raise issues, how did you come by that? But that's not my issue. My issue is if you subtract this from the 117,000, it gives you 16,030 and not 115,730 as put in there. Something doesn't add up, and the ministry must come clear, Kojo.
Okay, so that's the maths. And we're hoping that we'll get some answers to this.
Yeah.
But Mr. Okudzeto Ablakwa, I recall how often you brought up the question during the vetting process of the relevant ministers. So I know this question was asked of the health minister, of the transport minister,
Attorney General,
of the Attorney General,
the procurement minister,
yes. In fact, I recall even the
foreign minister.
Yes, the foreign minister was asked as well. The information minister had this brought up in his vetting too. So all of these ministers, and one after the other, you heard them say when certain questions were asked that they didn't know about it. Does it strike you as perhaps the most secretive tenancy agreement ever signed in the country?
Absolutely. And the more you go through the facts, what has transpired, the more infuriated you get. Look, this is a pandemic. of biblical proportions. We've never seen anything like this in our lifetime. People are dying, millions across the world. What we need to do as human beings is to first of all place the preservation of human lives first above all considerations. It should not be about profiteering. It should not be about personal enrichment. But the more you go through this frontiers deal, the more you are convinced that people just set out to enrich themselves at the expense of the dying masses in the middle of the world's worst humanitarian crisis. And it is so unconscionable, it's so unethical, it is plain wrong. So first of all, Frontiers Healthcare Services Limited, we discovered that it was incorporated less than 2 weeks to the reopening of the airport, 21st July 2020. That is shocking for a company that we are told had some superior technology, superior capacity, and that existing companies in Ghana didn't have that. That our own Noguchi, which had played a very heroic role in our response to the pandemic, didn't have the capacity, didn't have the track record. And this 2 weeks old company.
Well, if it's, I mean, the 21st of July, and the airports were open on the 1st of September. So that's about 5 to 6 weeks before that. Because there's August in there, that's a 4 weeks.
Well, I was looking at when they signed the contract with the, but we can go with that.
Yeah, the contract was signed on the 1st of September.
Yeah. Actually, that was signed on the very day.
It was signed on the very day.
The very day. They have absolutely no track record. They have no proven expertise. They have not done this elsewhere. We had raised concerns in Parliament about the amount, the $150. We still maintain that it was a ripoff, totally exorbitant. I compared the cost with other countries. First of all, Ghana opted for an antigen test. And we all know, the experts tell us that. So for an inferior test, the antigen test, at the time we pegged ours at $150. And mind you, it is still $150 for non-ECOWAS citizens. We speak as though the reduction to $50 affects everybody. They are still raking in for non-ECOWAS nationals, $150. Yes. India at the Goa airport, it was $28. At the Via Savark International Airport, it was $7. Heathrow Airport, it was $70 at the time. If you come to the more expensive PCR test, the more superior, the more sensitive test, Togo was charging $80. It was still less than our $150. Sierra Leone, $70. Turkey, $16. Still at that time, if you went to the open market for a wholesale price, it was between $4.56 and $12. It was not more than $12 for antigen test.
There was an explanation given at the time by government that this company, Frontiers, would have to set up a lab at the airport, and that all of these costs are factored in. So it's not just like buying an antigen test off the shelf and administering it. That they would have to have this lab and this record, or that there are no delays. And they explain that all of this is supposed to go into the cost.
That explanation, we have been asking in Parliament up until now. Give us the cost of that investment. Let's be transparent about these things. And look, the world over, it is emerging. I was in the UK's response to COVID. And the UK government stands indicted that some politicians have used COVID to just engage in opaque procurements, and it has led to massive corruption. And you do know that as we speak, the House of Commons is carrying
into
out
that, yeah.
some investigations into procurements of PPEs, even communication contracts, testing kits, and all of that.
Yeah.
The Prime Minister's former friend Cummins is in a lot of trouble, as he also helps in unraveling what has transpired in the UK.
Former
So-
friend, I like that.
So it is clear to me that this business of, we have made investments, to the extent that they are unwilling to tell us how much investment they made. And I've been talking to experts in the field and comparing with investments that have been made in other jurisdictions. It would not be even up to $1 million. And yet, this is what we got. A total rip-off, $150. We do not know how they came by that amount. Now, the $17.5 million, which I agree with Winston, which doesn't even add up. Let's go with the minister's figure. That is for only one quarter, September to December 2020. So this $17.5 million is not what they have raked in so far. We are yet to get the numbers for January to June.
2
And
quarters.
and isn't it striking to you, Kojo? Our question to the minister was clear. We want how much has been raised so far. And the most updated figure we could get is end of December. January to June, or if you like, May, not a word. No accountability. Now, you need to remember that for this particular company, Frontiers, every single law was broken just to pave the way for Frontiers to have this contract.
Is that a fair description of what happened?
Absolutely fair. First of all, before any company is allowed to operate in the biomedical space, our law, the Health Institutions and Facilities Act 2011, Act 829, is very, very clear. Section 11, facilities to be licensed. 11.1 says, a person shall not operate a facility unless the facility is licensed under this act. 2, a person shall not operate equipment in a facility specified in the first schedule unless the facility in which the person operates is licensed under this act. And if you look at the first schedule, facilities that ought to be licensed are listed, and you have clinical and biomedical laboratory, where these Frontiers operations fall under. So this law was disregarded. The Fees and Charges Act, which
they,
is
they do have a license now, though.
Yes, I
Fair
mean,
to mention. Yeah.
the license, a copy of which I have here, I have the license here, was issued to them about 2 months after, on the 3rd of November 2020. Frontiers Facilities Regulatory, issued by the Health Institutions, issued under the Health Institution and Facilities Act 2011, Act 829, the Health Facilities Regulatory Agency, a provisional license, license number HGAR 1120, LAB0080PR, Frontiers Healthcare Services Limited, situated at the Kotoka International Airport, Accra, Greater Accra Region, has been licensed this day under the provision of Health Institutions and Facilities Act 2011, Act 820. So the license refers to the act, which is clear. Because often you've heard some people say that, oh, there are so many other laws, you probably were operating under other laws and all of that. This is the law. The law is clear that you must obtain your license first. It's a prior requirement You do not start operating on the 1st of September. The whole of September you operate, the whole of October you operate, and then it is in November, 3rd November 2020, that you obtain your license.
But if I may refer you to something that you heard as an answer to a few of your questions during the vetting process, we're not in normal times. And there was a need to set up this structure at the airport before we could reopen. So from the very 1st of September, it was necessary for somebody to be doing this. Can Parliament not, in this case, allow for an exception, since we are not in normal times?
Under the Procurement Act, Act 914, there are elaborate provisions for abnormal times, if you permit me to use that word. Times of emergency, times of national disasters. So that cannot be an excuse.
Well, but talking about, making this point, you talked about the, Health Facilities Regulatory, Act. But I also have a letter here. It's addressed to the Food and Drugs Authority, and it says, "Dear Madam, provision of COVID-19 testing at Kotoka International Airport." And this is reference to a letter submitted to the Food and Drugs Authority on 24th August, requesting the authority to provide with a certification of the system to be used to test all arriving passengers at Kotoka. Now, pursuant to Section 118, Part 7 of the Public Health Act, and the guidelines for emergency use authorization of medical products, the FDA has approved, into bracket, 1st July 2020, the underlisted medical devices for use in the detection of SARS-CoV-2 in Ghana. And the local agent is Healthcare Solutions Services Limited. And that's the mother company of Frontiers. And the product name is Bodytech Affairs COVID-19 AG test kit, antigen maybe. Bodytech Exemplar COVID-19 real-time PCR kit. Bodytech Nuacta COVID-19 extraction kit. And Bodytech Nuacta COVID-19, Bodytech fluorescence immunoassay IVD analyzer. And it says, please find attached the on-site audit report carried out on the installed device. The Food and Drugs Authority gave them, and this letter written by from the Food and Drugs Authority was received by the managing director of the Ghana Airports Company Limited on the 25th of August 2020.
25th of August.
2020.
Okay. But it was dated when? When was it dated?
So it is dated 25th August. That same date, and it was received that same date.
And it states a date of approval, right? You
Yes, that's 1st July.
1st July.
Yes.
So on the 1st of July, FDA gave approval for the use of all this equipment.
Yeah.
But on the 1st of July, Frontiers didn't exist.
So on the 1st of July, Healthcare Solutions Services Limited, the mother company,
This
of
is
Frontiers,
important
existed.
because it means that Frontiers, which is the company operating at the airport, did not receive FDA approval. It was their parent company that
Yes,
received
that
it.
brought the equipment in.
Yes. So Frontiers, which is the company doing the business, making the money, and in this contract with government, that company didn't receive this FDA approval
Sure.
unless they went for it again at some later date. Do we know of any such?
No. So this is the letter that was written by Healthcare Solutions Services Limited,
Right.
incorporated in June
Right.
2020, and that's the mother company of Frontiers.
All right then, Mr. Ablakwa, you were saying.
Yeah, so let's come to the Parliamentary Hansard of Thursday, 4th March 2021, which is the report on the vetting of ministers. And the health minister responded to my questions on this particular matter of licensing. If you look at column 027, it says also, in a response to a question, the nominee stated that he was not aware that Frontier Healthcare Services was incorporated on 21st July 2020, and therefore it was not licensed by Health Facility Regulatory Agency before the reopening of the airport. The nominee also denied any knowledge of the fact that Frontier Healthcare Services Limited had no prior experience in clinical laboratory testing before their engagement at the airport. This is the lead minister on our COVID response. When confronted with the fact that Frontier Healthcare Services was licensed on the 3rd of November 2020, after the contract award for antigen testing. Contrary to the provisions of the Health Institutions Facilities Act of 2011, Act 829, Section 11.2 of the first schedule, which requires health institutions to obtain license before they operate, the nominee indicated that since the country was not in normal times, certain actions were taken before they were later regularized. The nominee also explained that it was an emergency and urgent action needed to be taken to prevent the importation of COVID-19 virus and protect the life of other citizens. The nominee also indicated that the licensing of the facility was actually at his insistence and explained that this was detected at one of his monitoring visits, and he quickly directed that the license be sought for the Health Facilities Regulatory Agency. So this is the health minister confirming that there was no licensing and that it was one of his monitoring visits when he asked Frontiers at the airport, and they admitted that they had no prior approval, and he then facilitated the license. This is the health minister. So these letters that are now popping up all over the place, which were not available since last year when Parliament, when I made this statement and called for a drastic reduction of $150 and said that this was a rip-off. There was no response. The health minister was in Parliament that day. During the vetting, all of these ministers, the health minister, and this is the parliamentary Hansard. This is what we have on record. So as for letters can pop up at any time, you know, and people can hide under all kinds of different agencies.
You think these letters are after the fact?
They are, because, I mean, why were they not made available to Parliament? I'm not convinced that these letters existed when they are purportedly.
Didn't any of the nominees make this available? I had the transport minister designate then talk about the fact that he had a contract and he was making it available to you when he came for vetting.
It was not made available.
It was not made available.
It was not made available.
But that's I mean, the committee should have insisted. He said, and I heard him say, "I have the contract. I will make it available to the committee." He did not.
No, you're referring to the contract.
The contract, yeah.
The
And
contract,
other documents.
No, it was only the contract. But these letters that are popping up now, a few days ago, did not exist at the time. The contract was basically a rental contract of a sort, where the Ghana Airport Company Limited was renting out their
Exactly.
space. Yeah, and you have this bizarre, explanation that that particular procurement activity does not fall under the Procurement Act, as if it was something novel, which we disagree with, But even if we will go with that deals with just space.
Okay.
That contract cannot cover the entire transaction. That deals with space. What is more fundamental is the biomedical service that you are going to provide. And we are talking about biosecurity. This is human life. You are harvesting data from human beings. I mean, no country jokes with that. I mean, people are entitled to privacy. People must be assured of their safety. And we are told that anybody can just walk into the space, the biomedical space, harvest human data, and be using it. And all that exists is some leasing contract with Ghana Airport Company about use of airport. That to me is so secondary. It's not important. What really matters is that our health regulatory authorities have assessed, first of all, the equipment you are going to use, the personnel. Are they trained? Are they well certified? And what are the systems that you are putting in place that we are safe? Because what this means is that September, October, before the health minister who told Parliament that on his rounds he realizes that these people have been operating without any authorization at all. Throughout all of these periods, what was happening?
Okay.
And how sure are we that you don't go for a COVID test and you end up even getting something else?
Let me get to a point you made. You talked about you asking for figures so far. I'm just looking
Yeah.
at the urgent question by Haruna Idrisu, and it says,
Yeah.
to ask the Minister for Transport how much has been accrued from the contract between the Ghana Airports Company Limited and Frontiers Healthcare for the conduct of COVID-19 testing at the Kotoka International Airport as at the end of December 2020. So the urgent question was as at the end of December 2020. So the Minister then provided figures based on what he was asked to provide. So that's, it here. But then that will take me to my next question. We've looked at the figures. Now, you've also looked at the figures. Are you convinced by the figures given you by the Transport Ministry emanating from the Ghana Airports Company? Are you convinced by those figures?
We are not. You see, first of all, we need to be told independently by the Ghana Airport Company how many people traveled to Ghana. The numbers that the Transport Minister is providing appears at variant with the numbers that we had worked with from the airport company's own website about the number of people who had come in.
What is the variance in there?
It's quite huge. It's almost 10,000 from the work we have done.
Okay.
Now, the second concern we have related to those who have come in is that there were a number of evacuations that government carried out. So far, we don't have a disaggregation or an indication that this figure has factored in the evacuations that were carried out, which would then mean that Frontiers has even made much more than they are claiming to have made. So there's another question that is in the works on the total number of evacuations carried out, because at the Foreign Affairs Committee, when I put this question to the Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs, when we're looking at the 2020 budget and approving the 2021 budget, she indicated that her ministry was not solely in charge of evacuations. They did some evacuations, but national security also carried out evacuations. And she surmises that the national security evacuations might even be more than what they did. So we don't have the total figure of how many Ghanaians were evacuated. Now, during these evacuations, we all know that there was testing, they isolated them, and all of that. Is it the case that there was some special arrangement for that, and that did not go through Frontiers? We have not been told. So there is still so much, so far as the numbers are concerned, which simply do not add up. But the point that we are stressing is that all of these matters will require a thorough investigation. That is why we are filing a motion for a bipartisan inquiry, so we can have a full-scale investigation into this matter, beginning from how Frontiers was selected, because we have told you that Frontiers was just hurriedly incorporated.
Have you filed the motion already?
It's in the works, yes. So it's in the works, but it's not been finally approved. So you have me in there, you have the Honorable Haruna Idrisu, you have the Honorable Minta Kando, Alhaji Suhini, and we are the sponsors of the motion. Okay. But we're waiting for the Speaker's office to do the final admittals,
and then
program it. Yes, yes. So we will need that full-scale investigation. Who is Frontiers? Who is behind Frontiers? Now, when it suits them, they bring in their mother company, which is registered in the Dominican Republic, according to our investigations, a tax haven, and that raises red flags about transparency issues. Then, even the how Frontiers came to operate at the airport, the various laws that were breached, and then the efficacy, the quality. Remember that there have been many reports of false negatives, false positives, including
Suspected false negatives.
including the prominent one by the AFTA Secretary General.
Yes, Wamkele.
You know,
Which the
you
Ghana
know.
Health Service denies, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, but he insists that, and there have been other reports to that effect. And even this sharing structure of the revenues that this transaction is generating,
Okay.
you do not do that. Look, this is money that could have gone to Noguchi, that our scientists, our researchers.
We'll come back to this issue. We need to go for some few messages. Stay with us. When we return after these messages, we have Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, Member of Parliament for North Tongue, here with us. We'll continue the conversation, raising a few issues and filing a motion for a bipartisan probe into the Frontiers Agreement. This is the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7. We'll be right back.
Cutie. Let's go. See me, I no get 30 billion, but I get digital banking, them sugar. Fidelity Digital Banking. Every day, I use the Fidelity mobile app for like 1 million transactions so I can make it happen cashless from anywhere. Oh, Lord of mercy. Even while I'm producing in the studio, I can top up airtime with my number one girl, call my WhatsApp banking assistant, do some online banking, and so much more. Now, I live like I have 30 billion with Fidelity Digital Banking. So enjoyment, enjoyment. I don't want to pay. Try Fidelity Digital Banking and make it happen, because together we are more.
Fidelity Bank. Believe with us.
From football fan to football star, at Enterprise, we take care of life's uncertainties, so you're free to make your dreams a reality. Dream big with us.
Enterprise, your advantage.
What is more exciting than buying something and getting 200% bonus? Unbelievable, right? Yes, it's possible with Vodafone Cash. When you buy airtime via Vodafone Cash, right there, no, 200% bonus. Yes, 200% bonus, to keep you connected. Or maybe you want to show some love to family and friends by sending them money on Vodafone Cash. Well, don't worry about the charges, because it's free. Send any amount as many times as you want, free of charge. So connect with family and friends via Vodafone Cash and enjoy lots of freebies. Dial *110# for all your Vodafone Cash transactions.
Ready? Comfort, durability, finishing, quality. Choosing sofas and beds for your home, office, or hotel couldn't be easier, with an exclusive range of sofas and beds in various designs and colors from Latex Foam. There is so much choice, whatever your budget. Latex Foam, your partner for life.
Get digi with it. 924#. Get digi with it. 924#. On your mark, ready, set, let's go. CBG Mobile USSD Young Code. Star 924#. Punko the go. Smartphone no. Young phone no. Ever fire money transfer. For your water bill. For your light bill. Factor credit. Star 924#. You deserve it. Let's go. Get digi with it. Star 924#. Get digi with it. Star 924#.
CBG is empowering you to get digi with CBG Mobile. Simply dial star 924# and get digi with it.
CBG, we stand with you.
We know you better than they do. We cushioned you in the heat of the COVID pandemic when you needed us most. It is now time to help you take care of your post-COVID needs. From June to December 2021, your biggest and largest bank, GCB, is cushioning salaried customers with a special personal loan package. Access up to 200,000 Ghana cedis at a slashed interest rate. Enjoy a 2-month repayment holiday. Take up to 5 years to repay. Top up your existing loan at absolutely no fee. Let us make life comfortable for you. Apply for the GCB personal loan today and take care of your urgent needs. Remember, terms and conditions apply. GCB, your bank for life.
Coffee
coffee in your cup, and joy on the set. The Super Morning Show is always the best bet on Joy 99.7 FM.
You're welcome back. It's the Super Morning Show on Joy, and this morning our guest is Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. He, of course, is a member of Parliament for North Tongue, and he's here because, well, like other Ghanaians, he has questions about the Frontiers deal. We have questions about the Frontiers deal, and we are hoping that these questions will lead to some answers, because it's important for us to understand, and it's important for us to be transparent in our dealings when we set up these structures. It is scary to hear the expression, we are not in normal times. It's scary because you wonder how many of the rules will be put aside because we're not in normal times, and whether people would take advantage of that. We certainly don't want that to happen. And so we're playing our watchdog role and asking all the important questions. Stay tuned, join us. By the way, we're live on Facebook and YouTube at Joy 99.7 FM. Don't forget to like, comment, and share our live feed. Now, normally, we would have had the BBC News brought to us by Fidelity Bank. And one thing about our way of life is that even though it's changed, Fidelity Bank continues to offer world-class digital banking solutions to make our lives easy. If you need an account, you can open one online at fidelitybank.com.gh. If you want access to your bank account at your fingertips to check your balance, make payments, top up airtime, pay bills, and all of that, well, try the Fidelity mobile app, or be like Kiddy and let Kukua, Fidelity's 24/7 WhatsApp banking assistant, fill you with enjoyment when she helps you with your banking transactions anytime and anywhere. There's also Fidelity Online Banking, Fidelity GHQR Payment, Fidelity Debit and Prepaid Cards, and so much more. Say hi to Kukua on 0544 315500, or go to the Apple Store or the Google Play Store to download the Fidelity mobile app today. Make it happen with Fidelity Bank, because together we are more. Call 3355 or go to fidelitybank.com.gh for additional information. Remember to stay safe and to follow the COVID-19 protocols. Fidelity Bank, believe with us.
Well, hand washing moments have become happier moments for many families with the introduction of Lifebuoy Liquid Hand Wash. You now have a friend to help you wash germs off your hands. Indeed, Lifebuoy Liquid Hand Wash brings you two variants, total and herbal, labeled green and red and green respectively, and its active silver ingredient gives superior protection against all germs and yet gentle on all skins. Lifebuoy Liquid Hand Wash is super for all hand washing moments. Choose Lifebuoy for 10 times better germ protection, available in all markets, supermarkets, pharmacies, and neighborhood shops.
Okay, so we'll take the Nestle Nutrition line now, very quick with it, and then when we come back, we get back into this all-important conversation about Frontiers. So, the Nutrition line is brought to us by Nestle, and they offer good food for a good life.
Mom, please, can I have some milk in my Milo?
Have you tasted it?
No, but I didn't see you add milk.
Hey, taste it before you ask me any questions.
Hey, milk na chum say.
This is Milo all-in-one. Milo Pampa, cocoa, malt, milk and show, everything is inside.
Milo All-in-One already comes with more milk. Just mix with water and taste the nourishing goodness of quality cocoa, malt, and more milk all in one sachet. Milo, the energy to go further. This advert is FDA approved.
This is Nestle Nutrition Line. Nestle Nutrition Line is a public service program from Nestle Ghana Limited. Nestle Nutrition Line offers tips on good food for a good life. Now to your presenter.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to Nestle Nutrition Line. I'm Jackie Ankra, also known as Na Ajelisua. On today's edition of Nestle Nutrition Line, we're discussing the importance of sugar in the human body. Even though sugar has a negative reputation as a contributor to many health problems, it actually has important functions in the body. First of all, what is sugar? The term sugar is used generically to describe sweet-tasting carbohydrates in food, commonly sucrose or white sugar. Sucrose is formed when two simple sugars, glucose and fructose, combine. One critical function of sugar is as a source of immediate energy. If you don't eat for a while and your blood glucose or sugar level falls below a certain critical level, it may lead to mood changes, loss of consciousness, rapid heartbeat, and hunger pangs, among others. In such scenarios, a person needs sugar to immediately provide energy, and in athletic events, they could be given glucose. In a hospital, a person is given a drip or infusion, which contains a form of sugar called dextrose to immediately give them energy. The body is also programmed to plan for future events when you may not have enough energy or food. It plans by storing excess sugar as glycogen, which could also be converted to fat. I'd like to thank you for joining us this and every weekday morning. The numbers to call 0302 517 020, toll free 0800 120001. This number is free to Airtel, Tigo, Vodafone and MTN callers. You can also email consumer services at gh.nestle.com. While we're reading well, let's also observe the following precautionary measures to stay healthy at all times. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water. Avoid handshakes. Wear your face mask to cover your nose and mouth. Observe social distancing by keeping at least 2 meters between you and others. Cough in your elbow or in a tissue paper and dispose of the tissue immediately. Don't forget to wash your hands with soap and running water. Please follow the Ghana Health Service COVID-19 website for additional information and updates. And now, have a beautiful day. Bye.
Mom, please can I have some milk in my Milo?
Have you tasted it?
No, but I didn't see you add milk.
Hey, taste it before you ask me any question.
Hey, milk na chomu say.
This is Milo all-in-one. Milo Pampa, cocoa, malt, milk and show, everything is inside.
Milo All-in-One already comes with more milk. Just mix with water and taste the nourishing goodness of quality cocoa, malt, and more milk all in one sachet. Milo, the energy to go further. This advert is FDA approved.
It's the most action-packed breakfast show in town. The hottest music, the best giveaways, the great interviews, and all the laughter and fun you can imagine. Don't miss the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. It's the best breakfast show in town.
You're welcome back. It's the Super Morning Show on Joy. And today our guest is Mr. Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, the Honourable Member of Parliament for North Tongue. He's here because he is one of many who have been asking questions about the Frontiers deal. Frontiers is the company that is in charge of all the COVID-19 antigen testing that's happening at our airport. So when you come from any country in the world, you arrive at Kotoka, Frontiers will test you and determine whether or not you can be permitted to re-enter Ghana. This is an important role. But from the very beginning, there have been questions about the contract and the processes by which this company was installed at the airport. Mr. Okudzeto Ablakwa has reminded us of some of those questions. But today, of course, we are having this conversation on the back of a report to Parliament by the Transport Minister, who explained how much money we have made in this deal with Frontiers. Mr. Okudzeto Ablakwa, I want us to go back to the most recent, which is the information from the Transport Minister. So we've brought a company to test people before they come into the country. Very important role.
Yeah.
And, well, they're making money from it. It's not strange. There is something called social entrepreneurship, where you are solving an important problem, but you're making money as well. In fact, it is considered to be the most ethical form of profit making. Why must Ghana be so concerned about the fact that this company is making profit if they are indeed delivering on their mandate?
So you ask a very important question, and I must be clear. We are not against private companies making money. I am not against a private entrepreneur who comes up with a solution, offers that solution to government, and is making legitimate proceeds. Even though in times of a pandemic, during a humanitarian crisis, profiteering should not be the focus. But that's not the issue. The issue is that when you set out to conduct business, there are rules, and you must follow the rules. Your collaborators in government should follow the laid down procedures, should follow the laws. They should not create an unfair advantage for you. Because if our country will work and if entrepreneurship will thrive, it should not be because there are two lanes. The normal lane for everybody else, every other entrepreneur, every other private sector operator. And then there is a special lane where if you get on that lane, things are fast-tracked, the laws don't matter, you can do whatever you please, you can start operating. I know of people who brought in antigen kits and they were waiting for FDA approval for months upon months. FDA said, hey, take your time, we want to do a thorough job. And we didn't criticize the FDA because safety is key in these matters. Efficacy is important. We want to be sure that the test you are going to carry out will really be sensitive and will do its work. So if you have a long queue, look at all these young Ghanaian entrepreneurs who even came up with innovations. I mean, the guys at Tech and all that. During this period, we saw Ghanaian ingenuity. I mean, brilliant young entrepreneurs, young innovators. All of them had to join the queue to go through licensing, to go through authorization. Why is it that for Frontiers, it doesn't matter, we don't look at their track record? The day they start operating is when they sign a contract with Ghana Airport Company, and I even believe strongly that that contract didn't exist. That's why all the ministers. So when it had become clear that, look, they have been exposed, then they started to do all kinds of, let's backdate and let's see if we can create some semblance of normalcy. Because the health minister told Parliament, and if you look at this 4th March Hansard, he says that, look, we were not in normal times, so we just did what we got to do so that we'll regularize later. It's these regularizations that are now emerging as backdated contracts and agreements and all of that. So let's be clear. Nobody is against entrepreneurship. Nobody is against a private entity making legitimate money. It has to be legitimate. Let us not have different rules, different laws, and apply them, differently for other entities. Now, Kojo, you know that if you look at even the 58th ordinary session of the ECOWAS meeting of heads of state, which our president chaired, this $50 reduction, which is being presented as though even a favor has been done us. If you read the ECOWAS communique, it's clear that $50 should be the maximum for a PCR test, not antigen. What Frontiers is providing is antigen. It should have been far lower than $50. As we speak, they are still charging $150 for non-ECOWAS nationals. We insist that Noguchi could have carried this test out, especially when we have evidence that a lot of the staff they used were staff from Noguchi. I can tell you that on authority. So if you are using, if you don't have the expertise, though we had been told that, they had come in with some extraordinary expertise that nobody had, and that's why, they had to be, so strangely favored. We know that eventually they still had to rely on expertise from Noguchi. So this whole deal is murky, and this is not how you generate private capital. I mean, you enrich yourself at the expense of the people during a pandemic. That is why we will need a full-scale inquiry, and we will insist on that. We will get all the shadowy characters behind this Frontiers deal who have refused to own up and submit to the accountability test. We will have all of them hauled before that bipartisan inquiry and get to the bottom. And let it be clear that Ghana is a vibrant democracy. We have laws. It's a country of rule of law. If you come in and you think that you can just have your way, break the rules, have an unacceptable, an unethical advantage over your competitors, you will not get away with it. You will be made to account. So in the spirit of transparency and accountability, we will keep asking the questions and we will keep pursuing this matter to its logical conclusion.
Mr. Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa is a Member of Parliament for North Tongue. And, well, it's the Super Morning Show on Joy. I'm sure you have some thoughts. You're probably sharing them on Twitter, aren't you? Let's take some messages, and when we come back, we'll see what we've got.
Imagine strutting into the most anticipated wedding of the year. Only to see 7 other girls wearing your exact same outfit.
You are special and one of a kind, and that's why whether it's voice, data, or SMS, you get to enjoy personalized offers